Welcome to Books and Storytime by MyBookSummary.com. Let's explore. Story of the Red Shoes. In a small village, there once lived a girl named Karen. She was a beautiful child, full of life, but sadly, her family was very poor. Karen lived with her mother in a modest little hut, and her life was far from easy. One of the most difficult parts for Karen was that she had no proper shoes to wear. She had always worn uncomfortable wooden shoes that her mother had carved for her, and each step hurt her feet. Life took a turn for the worse when Karen's mother became seriously ill. Karen spent her days and nights tending to her, doing all she could to comfort her ailing mother. One day, while walking home from the village market, Karen spotted something on the side of the road that made her stop in her tracks. It was a box, and inside it was a pair of shiny red shoes. Beautiful, elegant, and just her size. Karen's heart leapt with excitement. She picked them up and hurried home to show her mother. However, her joy was short-lived. When Karen's mother saw the shoes, her face became serious. "Karen, you must never pick up things from the road like this. Those shoes may belong to someone. Taking them is like stealing," she scolded. "But, Mama," Karen protested, "they were just lying there. No one must want them anymore. Finders keepers, right?" Her mother sighed deeply. "My dear, we may be poor, and I know I can't buy you fancy shoes, but that doesn't mean we should take what isn't ours. Promise me you won't wear those shoes, Karen." Karen, although disappointed, promised her mother that she wouldn't wear the red shoes. But as days passed, she couldn't stop thinking about them. "They're so beautiful, and no one seems to miss them," she thought to herself. Little did she know that those very shoes were about to change her life forever. A week later, Karen's mother passed away. Karen was devastated, feeling alone and lost. The day of the funeral was grim and sorrowful. But in a moment of defiance, Karen did something that shocked everyone. She wore the red shoes to her mother's funeral. As she stood by her mother's grave, all eyes were on her feet. Whispered disapproval filled the air, but Karen didn't care. The shoes made her feel special, and that was all that mattered to her. As the funeral ended, an elderly lady in a carriage happened to pass by. She noticed Karen standing all alone. The old woman was kind-hearted and, upon learning that Karen had become an orphan, she decided to take her in. "Come with me, child," the old lady said kindly. "I will give you a home, food to eat, and you must work hard to make something of yourself." Karen, relieved to have someone care for her, agreed. However, the old lady's eyes fell on Karen's feet. "What are those?" she asked in a disapproving tone. "Why are you wearing red shoes to a funeral? That's improper and disrespectful." Karen, stubborn as ever, stood her ground. "I like them. They are mine." The old lady frowned but didn't push the matter further. She made Karen take off the red shoes, though, and replaced them with a modest pair of blue shoes. Karen was upset to see her beloved red shoes taken away, but the old lady treated her kindly otherwise, providing her with a room and new clothes. Despite the care she received, Karen couldn't stop thinking about the red shoes. She missed them terribly. Years passed, and Karen grew older, but her stubborn nature only intensified. She often tested the patience of the old lady who had adopted her. "I won't eat this," she would declare, or "I don't want to wear that." The old lady, though loving, often gave in to Karen's unreasonable demands, hoping to keep peace. One day, Karen and the old lady went to a shoe shop to buy new shoes, as Karen had outgrown her old ones. As soon as they entered the shop, Karen's eyes lit up. There, on display, was a pair of red shoes, shiny and beautiful, just like the ones she had found years ago. "I want those," Karen exclaimed. The old lady shook her head. "No, Karen. We need to buy shoes that you can wear for all occasions, especially funerals. Red shoes are not appropriate for everything." "But I love them," Karen insisted. "If you don't buy me those red shoes, I'll walk barefoot forever." Sighing, the old lady reluctantly bought the red shoes. They also bought a simple pair of black shoes for formal occasions, but Karen didn't care about those. She was too thrilled with her new red shoes. As they walked home, the old lady, weary from the long walk, struggled to keep up. while Karen danced and twirled in her new shoes, paying no attention to her guardian's discomfort. The next day, they had to attend a funeral, and the old lady warned Karen again. "Wear your black shoes, not the red ones." But Karen ignored her. She slipped on the red shoes and hid her feet beneath her skirt. Throughout the funeral, people stared and whispered about the girl who dared to wear bright red shoes to such a solemn occasion. When the old lady found out, she was furious. "Karen, why don't you ever listen? You've disrespected the dead." Just then, an old soldier, who had been watching the whole event, approached them. He knelt beside Karen and whispered, "Your shoes are just as stubborn as you are, my dear. Let's see if you can keep up with them." Karen, intrigued and flattered, began to show off her dancing skills, but something strange happened. Her feet wouldn't stop. The shoes had taken control. She twirled, spun, and danced uncontrollably. The old lady shouted after her, but Karen was already dancing far ahead. The red shoes wouldn't stop. They carried her deep into the forest, over hills, and through thorny bushes. Karen's feet hurt terribly, and her body ached from the endless dancing. She couldn't eat, sleep, or even rest. The shoes had cursed her, and now she was trapped in an endless dance of pain and exhaustion. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Karen managed to take off the red shoes, but even after she removed them, they continued to dance on their own. Karen, broken and weak, could only walk with the help of a stick. She limped back to the old lady's house, her body aching, her heart filled with regret. The next morning, when Karen tried to leave the house, she found the red shoes dancing at the door, blocking her way. She realized the gravity of her mistake. "I have been so stubborn all my life," she wept. "Now, I can't go anywhere because of these cursed shoes." The old lady, still caring for Karen despite everything, suggested, "Why don't you pray, dear? If you are truly sorry, maybe the magic of the shoes will disappear." Karen prayed day and night, sincerely regretting her stubbornness. One day, she opened her eyes to find the old soldier standing before her. "Child, you have learned your lesson," he said kindly. "As you have let go of your stubbornness, so must the shoes." With that, the soldier vanished, and the cursed red shoes disappeared forever. Karen, now free from their grip, dedicated herself to being kinder and less stubborn. She studied hard, and she and the old lady lived peacefully from that day on. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends. And let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.